You're trying to guide me so that I don't waste, I mean, can I say it?
Yeah, go for it.
The 40 grand of Zouk privates, and just on privates, not even flying out Renato or Dagino or Cadu and Larissa. So let's say hundreds of thousands of dollars on Zouk.
She would just look at me while I was dancing, and I was really intimidated because I'm like, holy shit, like you're looking into my soul, like, stop.
I was dancing with a follow, and she was kind of just looking away. I feel really bad because she doesn't care about me right now. So I'm just gonna start incorporating like more challenging sequences and wake her up.
Did it work?
Yeah, it worked. What's up? We're at a festival right now.
Yeah. We have a special guest today, Gabby.
Hi, how you doing?
She was a fan, and now she's on the show.
Yes.
So go drop your comments down below. Let us know what you think, and if you want to join the show, let us know.
Are we doing open invitations?
No.
Yeah.
Clearly.
But they can let us know. What if like somebody's like, I want to be on it. That's actually really cool.
All right, well, welcome to the ZoukPod, guys. So the reason we have Gabby here today is because she's like the follow version of me. Like we were hanging out yesterday, and like she was complaining about stuff in Zouk in the same way I did as a beginner, right? And so I was like, man, like it would be cool to have her because she's very what's the word? Like very thoughtful about just in the way she learns Zouk. And she's like has this really big dedication to learn and get better, and very analytical. That's the word I was looking for. And so we thought we'd bring her because you've been doing Zouk for how many years?
It's been almost 1 year.
Okay, but she's been teaching Faho for a long time.
Yeah.
So we're still kind of like novices. Would you agree?
Yeah. Yes.
And so we have
definitely.
two professionals, and so it's kind of like this perfect
match.
Yeah, where we can have a conversation have most of the perspectives covered. So yeah, well, before we get into our big question of the day, how are you guys enjoying the festival?
Very much. The social yesterday was very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Had a lot of amazing dances.
Oh, so nice, yes. And I think this festival is huge. Like, it's one of the best in São Paulo.
I agree.
In Brazil.
In Brazil.
Yeah.
I agree. It was my first time working at an event, so working and enjoying, I'm still getting used to it. So I don't feel like I enjoyed it as much as last year, but it was still really sick. I mean, we stayed till the end, right?
We just stayed to the
Yeah.
end because we were hungry. That's why. Not because I wanted to stay up, because I wanted to eat.
Breakfast starts like
At 6 a.m. Exactly. Yeah, no, it was amazing. Yeah, I really enjoyed the music. I think Paloma, for me, killed it last night. She was my favorite DJ.
Zé do Lago, I think he killed it for me. Loved it. Great job.
Yeah.
But all the DJs were phenomenal.
Yeah.
They all did a great job.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The beginning was a little bit rocky for me, for my taste. I think it was just because of all the DJ battles and all this. It was kind of hard to get a vibe going for the social dancing. But other than that, they all did great.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's really good to just, because at festival, because I don't like festivals, right? Because I'm just too tired to dance, right? And I hate having to stay up, like late, like up all night for 3 days in a row. I just don't like that. Like one night is like, that's already pushing it for me. But I really enjoyed the vibe. Like it's very different than like a one Zouk. Like because I assume, man, we have one Zouk, we have Solom, like these bigger parties in São Paulo. Like, I don't need to go to festivals, and I can go to party every day, right?
Yeah.
But no, this is definitely a different vibe,
And more people from all over Brazil.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Dude, there was people I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Like Gabby who danced with somebody, she was like, oh yeah, he's an instructor. I was like, I've never seen him in my life.
Yeah.
And luckily, we shot a video. Put a clip of it down here.
No, but it was very, very nice. You are an old soul because I love going to socials like 3 days in a row. And the good thing about being in the hotel that you can just like go up, take a shower, and then like have breakfast and stuff. Like it's very easy to move around. But I love like having like 3 day socials and staying up like until 5 a.m. and all
I
that.
love it. I don't like that we're stuck to a venue. We came to Londrinas. I would love to explore Londrinas, but we're so far out from everything. So that part kind of sucks, It's like, all we do is eat, sleep, and dance, and then by the end of the weekend, everyone needs to go home, right?
And that's why I love Sao
Yeah.
Paulo, because there's multiple socials a week, and I can just live my life. And if I'm not feeling it, I don't have to go to social. But if I'm feeling it, there's always a social around the corner, right?
That's
It's-
true.
I mean, actually that night, right?
Yeah.
So, and there's a lot of good socials.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
LA, what do you think? You live in Sao Paulo most of your life.
Yeah, São
You're
Paulo is
spoiled.
crazy. Like we have parties every day, and you can choose. Like sometimes it's 2 parties at the same night, so
Mhm.
you have to choose one, or maybe try to do half of the night in one and half of the night in the other one. Sometimes I do this.
Really?
I know that it's a little bit
Okay.
crazy, but sometimes I want to go to both of parties.
Oh.
Parties, so. Sometimes I do this, but a festival is a different vibe, so I think
Yeah.
it's really worth it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
The other thing that I was going to say, though, was about... What was I going to say? I was going to say something. It was really important, and then I forgot it.
About the
Oh.
festival.
No, it had to do with socials. Had to do with socials, and fuck it. Oh, well. I
Yeah.
lost it. It was really valuable, though. You guys missed out.
All right. Well, anyways, our main topic for today is on how does a beginner get functional in Zouk, and more specifically, how does a beginner get from not knowing Zouk until like an intermediate level? Because I'd say intermediate is when you can finally really express yourself, right?
I disagree. I think you could express yourself as a beginner.
In a confident manner. No, and you're actually dancing Zouk. So you can express yourself just, oh yeah, I'm expressing myself. That's not Zouk though, you know? So, so like to get to that functionality, and then also like, man, if you are at the level where you could compete.
And can
And-
I say,
Go
like,
ahead.
just you have a little bit more confidence. Like, instead of
Yeah.
a beginner, I think you're very unsure of what you're
Mhm.
doing. Instead of, like, when you reach intermediate level, you're already more confident in what you're doing. You already have the fundamentals a little bit, like, more structure in your body, and you have more body conscience. So I think it's easier for us to do it. Like, that's how I would put it. Instead of,
Mm.
like...
Yeah, quit being so
Mhm.
deceiving
You mean deceiving?
and condescending.
Condescending to what?
Beginners.
I love beginners, bro.
Yeah,
There's
I
a
love
bunch
it too.
last night.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
was a lot of beginners actually.
People who've never danced Zouk before.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I danced with a Colombian.
Really?
Yeah.
There's a Colombian.
Like a
here?
Colombian. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow,
But and
people don't
she
tell me.
this was the first time dancing Zouk. But,
What?
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah, for
How did they even
sure.
hear of this?
I don't know.
That's crazy.
I couldn't even talk to her because she didn't speak English. So I spoke to her in Portuguese and she responded in Spanish.
You should have been like, add my
Oh.
friend.
But yeah, so what do you guys think? Like, if I had this guy back in Austin, he came up to me and I really flattered. Like, I am not even close to where I want to be with my dance. But he's like, bro, like I love your dance. Like,
Yeah.
Like- thanks, man. Like how do I like get as good as you? Which I feel really uncomfortable regurgitating that because I'm like, man, good. Like I'm far from being where I want to be with my dance. But you know, I told him something, but I can go over that later. Like how would you respond to that? Because I'm
Well,
sure
first of
people
all,
come
I
to you
think-
for that.
First of all, I think you need to acknowledge that you're growing and that people admire your dance and that you've reached this level where maybe you're not satisfied, but for people, that's already good. Like, I feel like you've already inspired everybody around you, like your group of friends outside of Zouk, and when they're like, wow, Anthony's an amazing dancer. Like, I bet if I asked any of them, like Mick or any of them, they'd be like, Anthony's freaking amazing, you know? So I think you can't discredit all your hard work because you've come so far. Make sense?
Yeah, and also
And
the
you've already
standard.
inspired so many people.
I appreciate that. Yeah, just the standard in Sao Paulo is really high, right?
Okay, yeah, now
Yeah.
we're talking about the standard of Sao Paulo
So-
in Zouk.
So
Yeah,
you like when you go to
so
Sao
I
Paulo, it's like your brain readjusts to another standard,
Yeah.
right? But no, yeah, no, I appreciate. I was flattered for sure. But how would you respond if someone came when people have come to you and asked that? And yeah, I'm curious to hear both of your thoughts.
Yeah, I think something personal. Like I cannot put all the people in the same page because some people need more time to learn and to adapt and to be more confident. So I think each person have their own time to learn. But I think like time of practicing is something that really can help. So if you don't have time to do a lot of classes, I think classes is very important. But if you don't have time, you practice everything that you learn and go to the socials because social make you grow faster too.
Yeah, so what I literally tell them is like, thank you is just a lot of hard work and effort. And I just acknowledge and pay tribute to all my work and all my years that I've been doing this. Because I don't want them to think that it was a gift. If you would have seen me at the very beginning, I was literally standing against the corner, nobody wanted to dance with me. And so now that I receive these compliments and I have people running up to me to dance, like I'm like very grateful for that, and that speaks a lot to me, you know. And I'm just like, wow. And I just tell them like anyone can reach this level, just gotta work hard for it.
Yeah, and you know, you can respond in that way for any skill, right? It's all hard work.
Mm-hmm.
But what is the practical path if you can actually structure a learning journey for someone? What might that look like, right? And a question that I like to use, right, is, you know, if we put this in a competition sense, for example, you have 4 weeks to compete for your first Jack and Jill in beginners, for example, and your goal is to win and $1 million on the line. What does that training look like? Like practically bring us through how do we actually get into a functional level of Zouk or intermediates?
So and you want the fastest route because there's 2 routes. There's 2 routes. The first route being like, you're born in this culture, you hear the music all the time, and you're out social dancing with your family, friends, whatever. That could take 10, 20 years, right? And you will eventually get good because you'll get inspired by people, you'll come up with your own ideas, and you'll learn things on the ground. Or you could pay, right? Pay for instruction and have somebody who already went through all of that explain it to you in a faster way for you to understand. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, and then that all depends on your style that you like to dance and achieve. But if you were to go the instructor route, you're saying how long it would take you to achieve getting to such level as such person?
Well, to get to a functional level of Zouk, but let's like put competition in it because it's more quantifiable, right? If you win something rather than what is functionality and good, like that's hard to define.
Yeah.
But let's say to win a beginner Jack and Jill.
Beginner Jack and Jill. How long you would need?
What does that path look like?
The path is probably taking 2-3 hours a day of some type of classes with a specific instructor and not meddling with others. So specifically going to one instructor that you really like, that you really enjoy visually, and that you want to be similar, you want to dance similar as, and then doing everything they tell you. It'll probably begin with a basic step, learning the rhythm, learning musicality, learning the other basic steps within Zouk, right? Such as bonus, like soltinhos, haú, and then it would probably then just you be practicing a lot. A day after day, same information, making it routine to the point where it's not I can do it, it's so ingrained in you that there's no way that you can even create a mistake. It's like, it's so repeatable that even if you're 7 hours in dancing, you could still do it confidently and with proper precision, even though your body's exhausted after 7 hours of dancing.
What do you think, Gabby?
I think it's hard to put it like that. I don't believe there is a formula or a magical path for you to learn it because every person learns differently and in a different time rate. So for me, for example, I really enjoy taking group classes because for me it's good to have that information. I have my time to process and understand and practice with other people. Learning with different types of body and leading is actually helped me to be a better follow, rather than, because doing it with the teacher, honestly, it's easier because they have all the techniques. But when you go to socials, you don't always get to dance with teachers, so it's good for you to have that other experience. So for me, group classes are very good, and I also enjoy very much going to socials because that's when I get to really practice what I've learned. And in different ways, sometimes I learn a technique that it's put on a different step that I can use that other technique, and the teacher didn't actually say that to me. I saw it on the social and somebody tried to do it to me. So I don't think that it's quantifiable or easy. Everyone learns differently, and for me, it's finding, like, try out different teachers, because you actually need to know how it's easier and what methodology you like in order to learn. So for me, it's like that.
I'm so happy that you said that, because for my own personal journey, I don't agree.
Yeah.
But for other people, when you said that last night, I was like, oh, so you know what? That way that you know how you learn might actually be good for a lot of people, because I'm very intense. I'm very serious about things, maybe too serious. And so when I want to like learn something, it's pretty intense, right? And it's a really deep dive, and I spend all this money and freaking move to another country just to try to learn it. Like it gets crazy, but I think that's definitely a path for people that is, you're developing a relationship with the dance, right? You're still not sure what exactly you want to learn or how you want to express, and this is a way to get a lot of vocabulary with multiple teachers, right? Where I don't agree from my own personal journey, and I can only speak for myself because I only know what works for me. Man, I've wasted a lot of time in doing group classes, a ton of time. And what I would say is there are proven methodologies, like Hanata Pasanya's program, which apparently, according to Abe, she doesn't even teach like that much. But Alex Jacovalu is a great example because he replicates himself, and I don't know how he does it, whether that's in privates or in intensives, or I don't live in France, so I don't know, I'm not familiar. But you see that his students, they keep developing, or like a Guy Prada, who has created amazing dancers in the district Zouk scene in Washington D.C.
Well, that's still Alex, right?
I don't know.
That is. Well, technically it's Jaime and Alex. I think he gives more credit to Jaime, but I know he learned from Alex as well.
And each of them have a very, very clear curriculum. This is where you start, and this is where you go, and these are the levels of progression. And so if you took intensives like that, I can see it being very valuable, right? Because I know you used to teach intensives. Do you teach intensives, Ella?
Yes, I teach every Sunday.
And that's like is it a closed group?
It's a closed group. It's 3 hours of intensive.
Wow.
Yeah, normally it's 3 groups. It's Sunday.
I'm gonna look into that. I might be interested, but because that's how I like to learn, and what I would say is, for me, what I told this guy, I was like, if you really want to learn Zouk in Austin, skip all the group classes.
Oh yeah, you're from Austin.
Yeah, he's from Austin.
Okay.
Skip all the group classes and take privates, and this is the only couple you should be taking privates from. Everyone else is misinformation. I'm sorry, like I will just say it. I'm not gonna say names, but only take from this couple if you really wanted to improve. But privates can be expensive in the US. So what I said is, make a trip, like talk to me on who you want to learn from. I can only share the instructors that have worked for me, or that have a really good a reputation or authority that I've heard that my friends have gotten a lot of value from. Plan a trip to Brazil, 1 to 2 months, and all you're gonna do in those months in Brazil is all you're gonna do is just train, and you're gonna try to go through as much of that course or curriculum as fast as possible, and you're gonna social dance as much as possible. That was the plan that you tried to put me on, but it's challenging because you're only doing one thing, right? And so you don't really get to see Brazil. And I did deviate from that because I was like, I kind of want to go like chill out and
explore different things.
Yeah, right.
And do what you actually like to do, the movements you like to do.
But if someone were to ask me, like, okay, Anthony, like I like your dance, even though I think there's still so much more to go. How do I get to your place? I'd say you only need 1 to 2 months to get to where I'm at, which took me 2 years, right? You find a reputable teacher, talk to Abe or Ale. I don't know who you learned from, but I've heard from what you've said they're pretty good too. And man, schedule a crap ton of privates and tell them, hey, put me through your curriculum, A through Z. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I would definitely make sure that they have a curriculum and they have something set in stone that they could show you what's going on. I think that makes a big difference, especially for everyone partaking. I don't even know what I just said. I'm just like looking at
The lighting keeps changing. but so that's a very intense. Am I in the frame?
Yeah, you are.
Okay. I'm good.
Come closer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
So that's a very intensive achievement way of trying to study Brazilian Zouk. Do you agree with what I just said?
No.
That's why I wanted to have you here.
Not actually. I don't like putting on a time frame. Every person learns differently and in a different time. Because sometimes there's just something, sometimes like just for me to get the rhythm, it takes me 2 months. Sometimes for some people, because I've teach other rhythms before and I know this is a fact. So I wouldn't say like, just go to Brazil in 2 months, you're gonna become like me. No, not at all. Because...
Well, if you learn from the right teachers and you put in the time, I think so.
I don't think so. I don't believe that. Because, and like, even for you, like, to recommend, like, specific teachers, that's why I told you, like, try out different people for you to understand how you learn. Because the way, like, the teachers that I liked, honestly, in school, were the teachers that most of the people hate. Because I'm a very on point person and I need structure and I need to understand what they're saying. And they need to have a plan to like, and a methodology straight. Just don't give me the information like you will learn it, because sometimes you say, just move that part on your body and you don't even know how to activate that part.
Exactly.
So for you to have that conscience on how to activate that part, it takes you like, I got an information from a private that I learned how to do 6 months later. And I took one private class from Zouk and I learned what they were saying 6 months later. Because I don't know if I wasn't ready to get that information, or I don't know what it was, but it took me some time. So that's why I don't believe in that like time and structure, and teachers like come enjoy yourself. I think the most important thing is like you have to do it because it makes you happy, and you have to learn. Like I want to learn because I want to get better, because I want to have better dances and make my partner like to dance with me more, for us to have a better connection.
Yeah.
So I don't believe that if you like, it's not a cake recipe. So you cannot like put like just get this chocolate cake, like just learn from this teacher or this teacher, because sometimes the way that you learn is not the same way that your friend is going to learn, and he needs other methodologies, other teachers, other stuff. So for you, privates work. For me, it doesn't. So it's exactly the same thing. So I think you need to try out different things. Try privates, try group classes. See, sometimes a mix of both of them works out for you better. And like definitely go to socials. Like that's my only advice. Like
100%.
Go to socials. It's good, especially in São Paulo. They're very, very good. But I don't think you can like stipulate a time frame and like some teacher or some methodology or some like, no, try out different stuff and see what works out for you. You're gonna feel it. For me, the best teachers that I've ever like taken classes for is Louis and Larissa. They are absolutely amazing. Like if I had the opportunity, like, I would totally like go to them, but this is what works out for me. it doesn't mean that it's gonna work out for you.
What do you think, Ellie?
I totally agree with Gabby, because I see a lot of students struggling sometimes about the way that they learn, and they come to me, and sometimes it's easier and sometimes it's not. Sometimes they just want to chill more, and I have more structure. So it's important you know about yourself and about the way that you like to learn. I totally agree with Gabby.
Yeah. And I have another point. Something that you said about, the way that they look dancing, that is very nice, but sometimes the way that they teach is not the way that you learn. So it doesn't matter if you like the way that they dance if you cannot pick it up on that.
That is true. However, and this is coming from somebody who learned from doing that, right? So I specifically, I'll name drop, I don't care. I specifically liked at the time a lot like Dajinho. So I was like, hey, Dajinho, come down to San Diego. I want to take privates. I want to learn from you. I like your style. I like your swag. And yeah, he taught me. And it was really hard for me because he doesn't use numbers. So then I had to incorporate myself numbers to what he was doing to make it make sense for myself. So I'm not saying that it'll make it easier. However, I will have the exact representation of what I want and what I want to look like, right? So because I had him in front of me, I could be like, okay, I was counting myself. Okay, he's doing this, like this, like this. Taking my own time, probably took longer. But I visually liked it, and I really liked his aesthetic. I liked his swag, and so I was like, let's train, you know? And that's just because I really liked his style. And eventually I, made it kind of my own and my own thing. So, but if you really like somebody, learn from them. Like, there's no reason that I should go to Mafi if I really like Dajinho.
No, I totally agree with you. I'm just saying that not necessarily is going to be the easiest route for you learning because sometimes you really want to reach that level, but sometimes there's another teacher that can teach you how to be like them, and you learn easier the same thing.
That is true too.
So that's exactly like what I'm saying.
I agree. Damn, that's difficult. I mean, yeah, but I mean, like, how do you find those instructors that can teach you, Like, that's very hard. Like, that is very difficult. Who do you know who's gonna be able to teach you to how you could look like? And that's not an easy route at all.
No, I know.
This guy can.
What?
What?
I
This guy can.
I only and it's not perfect, right? Because man, like an artist style is really hard. That's like something that they had developed, and from their history and backgrounds of all these dance experience, right? And so, but what has helped a lot is having someone, for example, Hian, like he only speaks Portuguese. I cannot take a private with him by myself. And so having you come there and then break it down for me later has really, really helped. And we're getting closer to his aesthetic than what he's been able to teach his students.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just, and it's because he's young,
Yeah.
and he's still developing his teaching methodology, but he said it himself, I don't know how long he's been teaching, but we're the first to learn his basic step.
Yeah.
His unique basic step that's different than anyone else, and that was, and even when he said we're the first to learn it, I barely understood that lesson until 2 months later when I then finally came back to Brazil and we watched the privates and we put it to numbers and we examined it and really dissected it. Then here's something that's closer to his basic step.
However, this is something that's very specific to you and how you learn. And it's a really good strong point that you go directly to the source and that you're able to afford and do all this. However, she still has something that you still don't have, and that is all the repetition with all the social dancing. Like because she goes social dancing and tries it on on all the classes and with different people, she can get different feedback and different experience and follows. And I know you've asked me this before, should I train with other people? And I was like, yes. And I think it caught you by surprise. You're like, oh, really? And I was like, totally, because every person's gonna feel different. So not only do you need to know how to do the movement correct, but then you need to learn how to manipulate that person to do it correctly because everybody's going to move differently. So until you mastered every manipulation, you kind of haven't mastered the movement. Because mastering the movement is being able to do it on everybody.
Yeah.
What do you think, LA?
Well,
Did I just waste a bunch of money?
no.
I could have been going to just socials and group classes.
For sure, no, you didn't too. But I think like we were talking before about choose someone that you really want to dance, like you want your dance looks like. I think this is something that can help, but I think you need to develop your own style. I think this is the most important thing. Normally I teach a lot of lady style, and this is something that I work, because it's not good when someone wants to look exactly like the other person and your body is not the same. So it's impossible you do exactly the same way. So it's important you understand what you like, but try to do in your own way.
For sure. Develop your own voice.
Yes. Can I add on that?
Yes, of course.
I really, really, really like when I go to group classes and they make me do something I don't really like. And because it's like, okay, I don't like it because for me, it doesn't feel right to my body. But what the teacher says, like, I want you not to do it because you choose not to, not because you don't have that option. So explore, because sometimes you can create a variation on that you actually like. Because as you said, every body is different, and something is gonna feel right for you that it doesn't feel right for somebody else. So, and respect your limits, of course. Because sometimes you wanna just do stuff that you see teachers doing and your body's not ready to do so. So
Exactly.
Facts.
I had a thought, but I forgot.
No, hey, you're like me. Like father, like son. I'm gonna give him more light.
Yeah, it's very dark.
I think you're gonna
No,
turn on their light.
No, now it's very bright.
Exactly.
Cameras are amazing.
It would be amazing to edit this thing.
Well, you should be grateful I'm the one doing it, not you. Yeah. Yeah, what was I gonna say? Okay, yeah, this is what I wanted to ask, right? I think when I was answering my friend who came up to me how many months ago and asked me in Austin, what I wanted him to for him when I was giving that suggestion was, I don't want you to waste as much time and money that I did.
Yeah.
And that was only from 2 years. You've been dancing for 7 years, and that's kind of our relationship. You're trying to guide me so that I don't waste can I say it?
Yeah, go for it.
The 40 grand of Zouk privates, and just on privates, not even flying out Renato or Degino or Cadu and Larissa. So let's say hundreds of thousands of dollars on Zouk, right? So you wasted a lot of time. I mean, from what you said, right? And correct me if I'm wrong. You said that if you had yourself, you could have got yourself here in a very short period of time.
100%. If I could have trained myself,
if this version of you could train your younger self.
100%. I feel like I am one of the few people that could actually train myself just because, and the reason I'm able to do this is because I literally came from no dance background, formal, right? Okay, I dance salsa, cumbia, at home at parties, quinceañeras, right, for weddings, and I thought I was the shit. I thought I was really good. I thought it was amazing. And then I hit the what is it called? The scene of dance, like, we have a specific name for
Latin
it.
dancing?
Then I hit Latin dancing, but specifically ballroom dancing.
Social dancing.
Yeah, social dancing. Then I hit social dancing, and I was like, wow, this is a completely different beast. And then how people were explaining it to me just didn't make sense. Like, my instructors were like, oh, feel this, feel that. And I'm like, feel what? Like, that was very difficult. And even tapping the beat was so difficult for me. I remember it was not possible. Like, other people could be like, this is the beat, this is the beat, this is the beat. And I'm like, and I'd be so late. Like, I could not tap my foot to the beat was how bad I was. And so I physically had, when I was driving to LA, because I also drove to LA for a lot of classes, 2 hours there, 2 hours back, I would literally be listening to songs and tapping the steering wheel for hours trying to hit the beat. and that was like my rhythm training. And I was late for years. For years, I was late on my rhythm. And if I could have taught myself, I could have taught myself that in like probably a week or less.
Yeah, for sure. And that's kind of where I'm coming from with that suggestion. But I totally get your guys' suggestions too. There's no wrong way to do it. Even though Abe took 7 years and hundreds of $1,000s to get to where he's at, that wasn't a waste of money.
Oh.
Right? Because that was your journey. And you chose to go that path. And every person's individual journey in finding their own voice is so individual, and no one can ever say, here's, like you said, a cake recipe to do that. But I do think that having a structure that you can lean on is something I wish I had way earlier. You know, that would have built more confidence as someone who doesn't have a dance background, because each week I'm progressing. Yeah. You know, and it's measurable, right? The faster you can measure something, for me, it helps me believe in myself, because like I guess I'm more of a logical brain, an analytical brain, so at least I can compare myself to that and be like, okay, I'm on the right path. But for the past like 2 years, it's been aimless. It's been like, I'm gonna do all of this stuff and not really sure where I'm going and why I'm doing the things I'm doing. And learning from all these different instructors, right? Yeah. And I did take privates from a bunch of different instructors, you know, because I'm a videographer, so I would trade, and it was still confusing, right? Because there wasn't that
consistency, and knowledge.
So even throwing a bunch of money at privates isn't the solution either. No. But where I wanted to get to and kind of hear your thoughts on that is, what do you think are there any misuses of time when trying to learn Zouk? Are there things beginners spend too much time doing that maybe they could, you know, focus on something else or think about it in a different way that could help them progress more smoothly?
I think the structure is very important, and I think it's something that you should not search about, is like trying to learn figures or routines or like hard movements like spins or so. I have a student, he's a beginner, and he asked me, he did like 5 privates and he danced for maybe 3 months, and he asked me to teach spins, and I said, no, you are not ready to learn spins. So don't try to learn hard movements and complicated things, or learn routines, or just figures that you think is important. You need a lot of structure in your dance, and you need to know your body. So I think this is the most important thing. And that is a process.
Yeah, and honestly, just to put this out there for you guys are so blessed that you're coming in at this time. Like, honestly, you're very blessed that you came at the time that you came in, because there's a lot of bull that I had to go through, and I feel like a lot of that has been cut. And you have now a lot of credible instructors around you. Back in the day, it was much more difficult to get like credible instructors and incredible instruction, because even then, things were changing within Renata's own methodology. Literally months later, it would be taught differently. And so I had to adjust my dance. Versus now, it's pretty stable. Like, we know what is what, and it is very clearly defined. So, yes, I had to spend more money, but now everything is much more clear for the next generation. And the next generation, I do believe, is teaching like 1,000,000 times better. And that's only going to exponentially grow. And that's what I think was the problem with Zouk. And it still might be a little bit, because the learning curve is so difficult, but the learning curve has dropped substantially.
No, I don't agree that it's a waste of time or anything, because I think it's your process. So, but what works out for me is like when I feel like I have a dancing background, like I've been dancing for 10 years. So I know what works for me and what doesn't. So there's a point that I reached and I was like, yeah, I'm done. Like, I'm not learning anything. Like, for me, it's pointless. Like, I need to change out teachers or methodology or whatever it is. But this is your path. So you need to like actually stop and think, is this working out for me? Am I seeing like the end of the path that I want to be at? So I think this is your journey and your process, and you do whatever you want. Like sometimes people just want to chill. And adding on what you said, like guys, don't try to learn, and even like girls, don't try to learn different movements. I had amazing dances, only like an hour on the embrace. So focus on the basics. The basics are like the best thing ever because they're gonna give you the structure that you need to do the harder movements. But you have to learn them correctly. Otherwise, you're not gonna do anything right. So
To add on to that, learn yes, basics are amazing and keep improving your basics, but learn how to express in your basics. I think this is the miscommunication when people say basics are amazing. I have dances for the entire night just doing basics, and I try that. I'm like, dude, I had terrible night, bro. Basics suck, man. Teach me the figures. I think what people really mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, learn to express with the basic to the music as well.
Yes.
So for me, for example, right, like how I've been learning the basic more is and improving on it and enjoying my dances that are all basic step. Is that I'm learning how to break my basic. I'm learning how to do it to hip hop. I'm learning how to do it to more ethereal music. How does that change? How does my basic change depending on the music and with the other person and the type of connection I want to have with the other person? I think that's what people mean. I don't know.
I think to add on to that, I feel like there is one more thing to add.
Okay.
And that is to enjoy your basic. And enjoy the presence of the other person and know that there's another human being across from you. And don't be stuck in the figures or to be stuck on your head on the timing or on that. Like at the end of the day, you're sharing a moment in time with another person. And to really share that moment in time with them and give them your undivided attention. And don't be wandering off staring at other people while I talk to you and I look at this other person, you know?
For sure. Man, we've covered a lot. There's one more, since you brought that up, I do want to bring this up and talk about it and hear your thoughts. How do you, like, that when that situation happens, because I had it last night where, I was dancing with a follow and she was kind of just looking away. And Abe said something last week that kind of inspired me, maybe in like a bad way. He was like, hey, if a follow doesn't pay attention to me and is wandering off, I just turn on Zouk hard mode. He didn't say it like that, but he's like, I'm just gonna do like these really hard movements and they're gonna know that they're gonna miss it, so they have to wake up to actually like pay attention to be able to follow. Because if you don't pay attention, you're gonna miss everything. And so last time I was dancing, I was like, oh, okay. I feel really bad because she doesn't care about me right now. So I'm just gonna and I know she's a beginner, so I'm just gonna start incorporating like more challenging sequences and wake her up.
Yeah. But that's kind of a douchebag move.
But
Did it work?
It worked. Because afterwards, right, when the song ended, she was like, oh, thank you. And that's how I knew it worked, because it was like, it was really hard for her. And I was like, like, I guess that works, but that's not the reason why I'm dancing, right?
It's not nice. It's not kind.
Hey, why do you do that, bro? You told me that.
I do it because it's annoying and I want them to know, like, it's annoying. It is annoying.
What I do, actually, when I feel very disconnected to the person, like, I always try to look in the person's eyes, but I really, like, I stare.
Oh, yeah? You're like...
Like, yeah, exactly. Like, I'm doing everything. Like, I'm doing spin. I'm like my head is the last one to turn, and I'm always, like, staring at this person's eyes. And I know it sounds crazy, but it works.
Yeah.
Like, the person... It starts to connect and be drawn to you, and then you give them a smile and everything, or you laugh it off if something goes wrong, and then like you connect. So for me, I do it like that.
That's actually really important. I actually learned to stare at people's eyes because of that, and I'm gonna name drop here because I came to Sao Paulo, right? And this girl, she would just look at me while I was dancing, and I was really intimidated because I'm like, holy shit, like you're looking into my soul, like stop. And then I was like, that, we're having eye contest now. And then literally I was like, and then she was just like looking at me the whole time. And then it like became this eye contest. Like even in head movement, she would try to look at me. It was like that intense. And then we would even see like who didn't blink. And I'm gonna name drop too, Fiona, that was like all you. Yeah, but I actually learned to keep eye contact and like to deal with my insecurities because she was just like always on me, and I was like, damn. And then you actually give me similar eyes as well. It's like that, like. But I enjoy it. I like it. I'm like, damn, I could tell we're here right now.
Yeah.
It's like nothing else matters, and like, that's pretty cool. Like, I really like that sensation. So, at first it was a little bit difficult getting used to, and maybe you might not be able to deal with the intimacy of that. But definitely practice it. I mean, you don't have to go like have eye contact, but if you want to think of it like that, sure, it helps.
Dude, I had that last night.
Oh, really?
Where I was just, and she was my favorite fall of the night.
Uh-huh.
And I was just dancing with her, and she was like very like you can tell, like I had dancing with beginners, you know, they're sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. But she like really wanted to like really enjoy this moment.
Yeah.
And after our first dance, she was like, hey, look at the screen. It says there's challenges that if you do all the challenges.
Yeah.
You win a full pass for next year.
Yeah.
And she's like, this challenge right now is to make eye contact for an entire dance. So she made me do it, and I was like, man, this is hard. I kept like looking down. I'm like, oh, I lost already. It's hard, but I really appreciate that.
I like that actually. Let's talk about that. How do you like the competitions or those things that they're doing?
Okay, first off, I didn't know there was a competition going on. I can't read Portuguese.
I told you, I was like, dude, there's a competition. I even told you to record it. We have it on video.
It's a game.
It's a game.
But each participant can play it.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the
Exactly.
point.
I'm player 16.
Really?
Yeah, you have a card with the number.
Don't you have a card?
No, it's a black
Oh,
card.
I don't have the card.
Yes, of course. Like, when did you get your full, like, your bracelet?
Mochina gave it to me.
Oh, this is why.
yeah.
And what you didn't give you the...
Mhm.
Wow.
You
So
need the
you're
black
not
card.
participating.
Yeah, sorry. All that eye contact wasted.
I couldn't keep it anyway for too long. But yeah. Okay. LA,
We're really dark actually.
that's whatever.
Okay.
Cool. LA, what's the compassionate way to respond to someone that's not being present with you?
Well, I just like to try to, when I am in the close embrace, I like to try connect more, like hug more. So the person feels that I am here. So normally when I do this, the person stops everything and try to connect with me. So it's something that I do. And if we are just dancing like crazy without close embrace, because sometimes happen, I just try to create the best thing to enjoy, like with myself. So I do things, I'm enjoying the song, and for me it's okay. I don't worry about if the other person is not dancing exactly for me. I'm just trying to enjoy it with myself.
Would you end the dance right after the song is over?
Oh?
Would you end the dance right when the song is over?
Normally I try to dance at least 2 songs. Doesn't matter for me. I like to dance at least 2 songs. But if it's something like very uncomfortable, like if it's very uncomfortable, so I end the dance, yes, it's okay. But normally I try to connect. So maybe 2 songs to try to connect.
All right, well, you heard it there. That's the compassion. Don't do what me and Abe did basically.
Or do it. Them.
Don't. Poor follower.
Yeah. All right, well, let's wrap up because we've gone pretty long. What time is it?
I don't know.
We've gone pretty long, huh?
Yes.
We've gone for like
An hour.
an hour.
That's not bad.
All right. Well,
Although
thanks.
sunset.
Yeah, it's sunset right now.
Yeah, it's
I'm hungry.
beautiful.
Let's go eat.
Let's go eat!
Little pizza party way.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate your comments. We've been getting them on Instagram and some disagreements and support and everything in between. And that's the point of this podcast. Like, we want to create conversation so that we all can learn and have deeper thoughts when it comes to how we approach this dance, because I think this dance has a lot of capacity for that, and to really go deep and into the nitty gritty and you know, at the end of the day, to find what works for us and what our voice is, or how to express that within this dance. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you so much for listening. Please follow us on Instagram, subscribe to this podcast. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, any of the podcasting platforms that you like to listen to. And yeah, with that being said, we'll catch you guys later.
It's a movie.
Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.